of the Part-Timers, an 8-part D&D little series that uses the Uncaged Anthology Volume 1, because there's a Volume 2 out now. And I am your DM, Cindy, otherwise known as Babble Drabble, on Twitter, and CL Butor on various other things such as Twitch. And today I'm going to have 3 of my players joining us. Unfortunately, Devin wasn't able to be here. She is a teacher, and even though it's summer, she has a bunch of stuff to do. So just unfortunately, she couldn't make it. But we do have Phil here today. So Phil, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Phil Weasley. You can find me on Instagram at phil.weasley or Twitter at Phil Weasley. I'm gearing up for a residency in August, September, so you're going to start seeing a lot of posts. Check it out if you like weird art.
It's really cool weird art. Phil is really good at making, like, skin, which I didn't know you could be really good at making.
It's a fun time.
Yeah. Okay, and so now Sam.
Hello, I'm Sam. I am pot_sassy on Twitter. Not an interesting feed. I usually just comment on other people's stuff, so sorry. And I will be playing Gidget, who is a gnome, rock gnome.
Mm-hmm. All right, and then Evan.
Hello, I'm Evan. Otherwise known as alphabet_Evan on all social medias. And I will be playing the Tiefling Sorcerer Nim tonight.
Yay! And every night, because Nim is amazing.
And every night.
Okay, so last time, anyone that was watching may have thought that Jobert was with the party, but that was just, and that maybe Arado got something from messing around with the Dryad. But that totally wasn't a thing that happened, and that was just a like some of your imagination, a figment of your imagination. And Arado was always here, and Jobert was the one that had offered to go out into some neighboring farms and, you know, act as a farmhand for them, because she's just so gosh darn helpful, and so is never here. But what happened last time is that the party had been sent to a growing town called Stagmore. This town had grown in prosperity and size over the last couple decades, largely with the intervention of a noble called Lord Valinder Odami. And it was actually Lord Odami that had requested the party, or someone really, come to Stagmore because he had heard rumors that there was a witch in the woods of a small town nearby. The town's name was Anamdial. And he was concerned about that because it was close enough that it would impede his business, and he wanted all the trade routes to be safe and open while the town was expanding. And so he had sent one of his people, Brogel Grotsk, out to Anamdial over a week ago at this point to check out the witch situation and try to resolve it in some manner. And then had lost contact with him. And so he was sending the party out to look for Brogel and, maybe bring him back, or at least, find out what was happening, and he promised to pay them handsomely if they did. And so they went into Anamdial, and after they crossed the river, they met an old, crotchety woman named Old Hazel, who was sitting underneath a tree, washing her underthings with the guide of a few ravens. And Nim did not get along too well with Old Hazel, since they are both sassy, irascible creatures, and But Gidget was fortunately very kind and was actually given a blessing, and Arado, totally not Jobert, was also given Mother's blessing for being a decent person and not being sassy. And so both Arado and Gidget have Mother's blessing, and then Gidget was given this little kind of wooden token to wear as kind of like a symbol or a token of the blessing. After that, the party went into town. It wasn't too far past there. And they went to the inn. There was only one inn in town. And they met the owner, Lynne Mirthspire, and the constable, Hal Hargrave. They also met Brogel Grotst, who was staying upstairs and was in kind of a bad state. He didn't look like he had slept in over a week. He was raving about people being out to get him. He was also quite rude and kind of just threw around the staff members that were trying to work. Everyone, including Lunelli and Hal, both kept claiming that, oh, he was drunk and nobody should listen to him. But by doing some quick insight, the party learned that they didn't actually believe that. They didn't believe that Brogel was actually drunk. They were just choosing to ignore his calls for help. He then enlisted the help of the party to protect him in some manner, because he was saying that at night some creature came for him and tried to get him, and that she would surely kill him soon. When the party tried to ask for more information, he realized that, they just want money, and so he gave them 1,000 gold pieces, everything he had on him, to protect him. He also kept calling Gidget a witch, and revealed that when he came into town and saw Old Hazel, he decided that Old Hazel was the witch in the woods, and just tried to kill her immediately, and then was attacked by some ravens and a swarm of snakes, and after that, that's when these terrible nightmares occurred. So he's very mistrusting of witches and magic, especially the magic that women can do. But the party agreed to at least try to help him out through the night and see what was happening. And so they let him go to sleep in his room, which he had outfitted like a mad person, and just throwing things around and putting like little stakes embedded into his mattress to try to keep something out that clearly wasn't working. And the party just kind of like watched over him. Gidget had decided to stay downstairs and to work on Rentalk and her little machines instead, and eventually just like fell asleep on a table down there. And so it was Arado and Nim that were watching Brogel. And after a while, they started to think that, he was full of crap. And suddenly he began to thrash wildly and was visibly terrified. So they tried to like drag him out of the room, hoping that doing so would stop whatever this terrible thing was that was harassing him. And he just kept like whipping around and going crazy and shouting out. And at that point, Nim was attacked by an invisible creature that stung him in the neck. And when it did, its invisibility wore off. And we saw that there was a small imp that was attacking him. So when we ended last time, we actually needed to roll initiative for Nim and Arado.
So, because I've already been attacked, do I still have to roll initiative before I do Hellish Rebuke?
You can just Hellish Rebuke it.
Okay, I'm going to Hellish Rebuke it before we roll initiative, if that's okay, as a reaction.
Yep. Alright, because you are a tiefling. So it has to give a dexterity saving throw, I believe, to avoid the hellish flames. Let me get up the little imp stats. I'm going to use D&D Beyond. Sources, tools. Why can't I find my monsters on D&D Beyond? Character Builder, Marketplace. No monsters? No monsters? There we go. Okay. Alright. It's probably gonna fail. That was a 9, and I don't believe it has anything that protects it.
So this says the saving is a 14.
Yeah. Let me double check. We got some resistances and stuff. I mean, it has saving throw and magical effects. That's a nat 20. So when it stings you, you immediately begin to rebuke it, speaking in Infernal, but it definitely dodges out of the way, and even what little bit of fire manages to kind of wrap around it, it seems totally unfazed by that fire.
Asshole.
Yeah. And it giggles maliciously at you, saying, "You shouldn't have bothered old Hazel." All right. So let's do our initiative. What is Arado's?
17.
17, and then Nim?
10.
10. Get my little imp. All right. What is Nim's dexterity score?
13.
Okay, so the imp has higher dex than you. Because you guys rolled the same thing, so it'll go first. Alright. So, alright. So, when this happened, so Brogel is still thrashing around. It's kind of difficult for you guys to carry him. It almost seemed like Arado, just a second ago, was super strong and buff, and very easily able to carry this thrashing man, and then suddenly is having difficulty doing so. But you guys are still like trying to carry him out, and there is this imp that is flapping around Nim's head that has stung them. I think they did like 10 points of damage or something last time.
They did.
And then just out of nowhere, 2 swarms of rats and 2 swarms of insects suddenly materialized out of the ground around you guys. So you're just like covered in rats and insects. And Arado, I think, can go first.
Okay, how far am I? How big is the room?
You guys are
Like, where am I
actually
positioned?
in a weird section. The room itself is only like a 12 by 12 room, and then there's about like a 5 by 5 inch hallway, and so you guys are kind of awkwardly wedged in that 5 by 5 foot hallway, trying to go out onto the landing. And the landing itself is quite a bit bigger than that, like well, actually, no, he's room 2. So yeah, so if you head out into the landing, you'll get into an area that's like 30 by 30, and there's some steps, but it's much more open than that is. So you're just kind of in a weird, awkward place right now.
Okay, so am I currently carrying an individual?
Yes, but you can totally drop him. You don't have to keep him.
I think I am going to drop him and use my deck of illusions.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
So I roll, correct?
Yes. So you'll roll randomly.
17.
Okay, what we got for our deck of illusions? Deck of illusions, give me that. Deck of illusions. Okay, nice magic item. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. All right, awesome. So you reach into the deck and you pull out a card and flick it at random, and as you do, and it goes into the air, you see that it's actually the Ace of Spades, which actually is all black and white. It's quite a monochrome color, and when it sort of goes about like 5-6 feet away from you, suddenly it disappears, and in its place is this tall skeletal creature with old moth-eaten robes, and a face whose skin is just sucked against its bone, and it is a lich.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
So now because I've only used this one other time, so I have to roll to see if it affects them.
Until a creature interacts with it or tries to inspect it with an investigation check, it appears 100% real. So it appears real at the appropriate size and behaves as if it were a real creature, except that it can do no harm. So you can operate it kind of like an NPC, but know that you don't want it to really touch anything, because if you do, the illusion is up. And then you can kind of just use your own stats for it. So if you wanted to do like a deception or an intimidation check, you would use your stats, but I'd probably let you do it at advantage because lich are scary.
So I'm gonna tell the lich to scare away the monsters.
Okay.
And we're gonna try and intimidate them away.
Okay. All right. So give me an intimidation check at advantage because it is a lich.
I got a 9.
A 9.
Plus 110.
Okay, so you got a 10. Well, let's see. 6. All right. So the lich kind of makes like a bleh, rah, rah, which isn't like nearly as intimidating as you kind of hoped it would be, but at least, and so the rats themselves aren't affected by it. They continue to like skitter up your guys' legs and try to snap at them. But these swarms of insects, at least, are affected and are intimidated and won't be able to react on their turn. So they kind of like swing away from you guys in a large open area.
Okay.
Okay.
And then, because I only get the one action unless I use a bonus action, correct?
Yes, if you have a bonus action to use, you can.
I am going to dash away from them into the larger room.
Okay. I think the rats, since they're not intimidated, would try to bite at you. But if you're okay with that, then you can dash away.
Okay, so dash, even though for the class is something I can take, it would do an attack of opportunity by the rats.
Mm-hmm. If you disengage, they wouldn't. So if you wanted, but that's an action. Well, no, you're a rogue, so you could use a bonus action to disengage and then use your movement to just get further out because you haven't used any movement.
I'll do that.
Okay.
I'm going to disengage for my bonus action and then move.
Okay. So yeah, you carefully move between these creatures, kind of dodging between them, and because you're not just like barreling through them, even though they snap at you, they don't make it, and you're further into the room. One of the things I have on the Twitch channel is I have a little map up, and so if you can see our Twitch channel, you guys were in room number 1, and then to the right of that, that's the landing. Okay, and so that's your turn, which is good because the rats exist, and it's their turn next, and so. Honestly, you fed the rats. You've dumped like half of a person into their midst. So I think they're just going to try to get Bruegel. And they get advantage. So that's going to hit. And yeah, that'll definitely hit. Okay. And so the rats just swarm on top of Brogel's lower half and begin to just bite into him. And the screams get a little bit more frenzied, and in fact, since Nim can still see him, you notice that this is physical pain, and so he wakes up from it, and just like long enough to try to like furiously bat them away from him, and then just a bunch of blood begins welling up out of all of these little bites, because there's like 24 rats per swarm. and that frantic sort of patting away at it just like stops, and he appears to be dying right this second. And that's their turn. It's the insect's turn next, but they are intimidated. Let's just double check advantage, because that's some good amount of blood. But from what Nim can see, these insects look like they're being drawn by all this blood, and they're going to want to dive in when they have a chance. This is amazing. And so it's the imp's turn, and the little imp goes, "Oh no," and actually is going to attempt to drive off the rats from the body, and is going to attempt to intimidate them into doing so. All right, let's check. 16 versus 1. Alright, and so the little imp dives down and begins lashing out with its long scorpion-like stinger and screeching at the rats in Infernal, and manages to drive them off, and then just looks up to Nim and is like, "You should save him!" And then it's Nim's turn.
I don't even know.
Just gonna write that Brogel is dying. Meanwhile, just as an FYI, Gidget is asleep downstairs, just feeling good, having a good nap. Might have a slight crick in her neck in the morning, but is fine. So how would Nim like to handle this bloodbath?
So, oh Jesus. Nim is going to, as a bonus action, cast Shadow Blade, which is one of his second level spells, and can cast it as a bonus action. And then I am going to attack whatever's closest to me / on me. So, what, I got rats on my legs?
The rats kind of abandon you to eat Brogel, and the imp abandon you to scare off the rats. But then there are some insects that, this lich, which you can still see this lich, is 6 feet away from you, it'd be like, blah, blah, and had, and the insects had been temporarily driven off, but they look like they want to come closer.
Okay, so with the Shadow Blade, I'm going to attack whatever is chewing or gnawing or actively killing Brogel, Beetlebop. No.
Grotsk.
Grotsk.
Okay. Alright, so I haven't used Blade Ward. How does Blade Ward work?
It's Shadow Blade. So, yeah, I weave together threads of shadow to create a sort of solidified gloom in my hand. It deals 2d8 psychic damage on a hit and has the finesse, light, and thrown properties. In addition, if I'm in dim light, I make the attack roll with advantage.
Okay, so you have to actually roll to hit.
Yep. Roll to hit. That's a nat 20.
Woo!
Yay!
And 2d8.
You can roll. What I like to do is I would give you max damage on your second dice. So since it's 2d8, you would roll 4d8. So actually roll 2d8 plus 16 for your damage.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll get 2 max dice. Shadow Blade's great.
So that's 20.
20. All right. So you, this shadow blade coalesces in your hand, and you bring it down with just like a horrible whistling noise, and it bites deeply into this swarm of rats. There's like I said, there's like 24 rats per swarm, and you easily kill 20 of them, and the others are splattered with their companions' gore, and they squeal in terror. So yeah, that was a lot. But I guess that counts as your action. To summon it, it's a bonus action, and then to use it would be the action.
Right.
But all right, yeah. So that was a really good one. And that's probably pretty loud by now. Sam, give me a perception check. Let's say DC 12.
Perception.
Mm-hmm.
I rolled an 11.
Wasn't even a hard check, Sam.
Well, when you roll an 8 and you got a +3, that kind of suck.
All right, so Nim briefly kind of snuffles, but then Rentalk continues ticking pleasantly on her head, and she goes back to sleep, unaffected by the sound of 20 rats die. Okay.
You never know what you get used to when you're in a cave. There's a lot of rats in caves.
There's a ton of rats.
They die.
Mm-hmm. It's a lullaby at this point.
Exactly.
All right, so back up to Arado.
So I am currently in room next to 1.
You're in the room next to 1, which is the landing, but Nim is still kind of in the doorway, and Brogel is still in the doorway, just bleeding out.
Okay, so where are the mobs, the monsters, in comparison to where they are?
They're still in that front part of room number 1 on the right-hand side near the door.
Okay, so I would have a straight shot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can easily see them. And it's kind
from
of,
where I'm at.
and you've sandwiched yourself
What's
with
that?
you've sandwiched yourself with the lich, where you're on the right hand side of the door in the landing area, and the illusionary lich is opposite of you, probably at this point 20 feet away.
Okay, my feed cut out, so I apologize.
Okay. Could
I
you hear
caught the
place?
last part of that, but
Okay. So you're still on the landing to the right of room number 1, and then about 20 feet away from you, your illusionary lich is still in the room, but you can see in between that Brogel dying on the ground, Nim with this really cool shadow blade, the imps and the rats and the insects.
okay. So if I were to use my charger action, it would be a straight shot to them.
Yes.
Okay, so then I would use my charger action and move in to attack.
Okay. So what does your charger action get you?
If you move at least 10 feet in a straight line immediately before taking this bonus action, you either gain +5 bonus to the attack's damage roll if you choose to make a melee attack and hit, or push the target 10 feet away.
Okay, cool. So yeah.
So,
do you want to go after some of the rats, or some of the insects, or the little imp?
since the insects are not going to, they will be attacking, I guess, but aren't currently attacking, I'm going to go after the rats.
Okay. Cool.
So I roll to hit.
Yes.
And let me go back. So on my roll to hit, it's the roll plus the proficiency.
You would add dexterity plus proficiency.
Dex plus, okay.
Mm-hmm. So I think that's a +5 for you right now? 6.
Yeah, my dex is +3. +5. You're right. My dex is +3, and my proficiency is +2. So I would have rolled a 12.
All right, that's still enough to hit. They're little squeaky rats. They're not super hard.
So I'm going to dash forward, lunge in, and swing my rapier about, which will also get me a sneak attack on top of that.
Yep.
So let me get my... Okay. And so that's 1d8 +3. So that's 10 plus the 5, and then 2d6.
Nice.
So that would be 23 points.
All right. Yeah. You dive in and just hit with a furious blow. Nim, you can feel like the wind off of this attack, and you just killed 23 rats in just one quick sweep. And so there's now all of 5 rats left, and they're not doing great. All right. Is there anything you wanted the Lich to do on your turn? Still illusionary, but also still there, exist, going...
I wanted to scream at the insects once more and just kind of like faux lunge. Just like, ah!
So is it
and
another...
intimidate them.
Okay, roll intimidation at advantage.
16.
16, all right. Yeah, so the insects, once again, are intimidated. They look like they wanted to lunge down and begin lapping up all that blood, but instead, when your Lich lunges at them, they start swarming back and fluttering away. So yeah, that's going to be their turn. Our little 5 rats, so our 5 little rats are going to attack both Nim and Arado, because you guys are both there, murdering them. So the ones attacking Nim, we're gonna roll to hit. Does a 12 hit?
No.
No. All right. So they try, but you keep them at bay. They remember as you destroy their companions, and then I assume an 8 also does not hit Arado.
No.
So
Definitely dodge and weave.
You dodge and weave, and they slip on the fallen bodies of their dead brethren, and they do nothing. And those insects also manage to do nothing. The imp it is going to be like, well, if you're not going to save him, is going to attack Nim. God, screw you.
What were we doing?
We're supposed to be saving his life! But a 7 doesn't hit Nim, and so you just bat this little creature away from you, and...
Dismissively.
Yep.
It's already stunned me in the neck, so, screw him.
Yeah. and then I guess trying to sting you and not making it is going to move 10 feet away from you. It didn't get you, so it's not in melee. And can Gidget give me another DC 12 perception check? $11.
Still snoozing.
A what?
Still snoozing.
Still snoozing. All right. Yeah. No, not affecting her.
I rolled less. I rolled less.
You rolled less. So
Can I actually roll for Rentalk now?
Sure. Rentalk should be asleep, right? Rentalk's not sentient. Rentalk lives off of you.
I don't think so. I think it's its own creature.
Okay, then you can roll for Rentalk. Sure.
I'm on Rentalk.
No.
Oh.
You got 2 rolls.
Yep. All right. So Gidget continues to just slumber away. Rentalk nestled against her head. For a second, Rentalk hiccups as though it's going to wake up, and then just makes a coo and goes back to sleep. So back to Arado. You still have a few rats. You have the intimidated insects. You have the imp that clearly tried to attack Nim. You have Brogel dying on the ground. Oh, I should make some death saving throws. Well, that's not good.
Did you roll a 1?
No, it wasn't a 1. It was a 3. Still not great.
But at least it wasn't a 1.
It wasn't a 1.
Oh, I don't remember. Do we have healing potions? Do I have a healing potion?
You can also always do a medicine check to stabilize someone that's dying, but that's an action.
Okay. I feel like
I have 2 potions of greater healing.
okay, so I'm not going to do a medicine check. So, Nim, can you stabilize him?
Giving someone a potion of healing is also an action, so...
Action. But do I have to wait till my turn?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So I can when it's my turn.
So you say, give me a second, right?
Right.
Okay, so the insects, where are they in position to me?
They're 5 feet away, kind of just swirling around. They're 2 swarms, so there's also there's 44 insects all around, and they're little, they're like gnats, and they're this big, and they have long proboscis.
Privacies. Okay, so I will, I'm going to look around really quickly, and I'm going to decide that I'm going to try once again to intimidate the insects with a lich, and then I'm going to attack the rest of the rats.
Okay.
So, with the insects, do I roll at advantage?
Yes.
Okay. 11.
All right. They're not smart insects, so yeah, they're still every time they try to dive down and get some blood, the lich just lunges at them. Yeah.
Okay, so then I'm going to attack the rats, and I'm going to use my sneak attack to do that with my rapier. I'm going to lunge at them.
Okay.
And I rolled 15.
Okay, yeah, that still hits.
Okay, so then I do... 26, and then where'd my stuff go? Sorry, 1 second.
It's okay. I got distracted by my pretty candle, which is a D20.
Oh, that's so cool!
It's pretty. It's teal.
6.
Oh, nice.
I do 15 damage.
All right. So you, the rats are scattered. You do damage, but it's hard to get them. It's like when you have a 7-10 split. So you manage to slay the last from one of the swarms, but one wily little rat still manages to evade you. And it's just skittering around, snapping and biting at you guys, being a jerk. And
the twigs rattle in the wind in frustration.
And because you have slain its brethren, that little rat is going to attempt to get you. It's just...
No!
Go, little rat! Well, that was interference. That was even worse. So it doesn't matter. Yeah, this little rat cannot get you. Your little twigs keep snapping at it, and then it gets startled. And it just can't. It's just not strong enough emotionally.
To handle my twigs.
Those insects are still intimidated. The imp is just going to be like, oh, you're not going, like, you're not doing a good job. You're supposed to be saving him for us, for later. God, I'm not even going to deal with you. And then the little imp turns invisible, and you don't hear anything else from it. All right.
Okay.
So then it is Nim's turn.
And what's left now? I know there's one wily rat. Is there any bugs?
Yes, there's 2 swarms of insects, but they keep getting intimidated by the lich.
Man, if only I could. I wonder if I have anything. Let's do...
I also have this candle.
Do they smell?
They do. This one's supposed to smell like baked bread, but I think it mostly smells like candle.
Okay.
But like a pleasant, lightly perfumed candle. It's nice.
It's not a bad smell.
It's nice. It's
It doesn't smell like big bread, though.
No bread.
Yeah. Anyway, you were doing a thing.
I was, and I'm not sure. Okay, so shoot. How I'm close to
Brogel?
Rogel, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give him one of my greater healing. Just to stabilize him because we might need him.
So sweet. Okay, so greater healing, I can never remember saying it's 44 plus 4?
Correct.
Okay.
44 plus 4.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4. So 8, 9, 11, 15.
All right. So yeah, you pop up with this super good healing potion, and you give it to Brogel as he lies bleeding, and you see all of his little wounds knit together, and he gasps and sort of like sits up, like clutching at you, getting all of his gross human blood on your perfect pristine traveling outfit, and it's just like, what? They were after me, I told you, and they were real this time. But he's alive.
As a bonus action, can I like push his hands away?
Yes. Shoving people off of you can be a bonus action.
He's messing my traveling outfit.
He is. He's got like there's now blood stains on it and stuff, and they're not even like artistically done. It's a shame. So that's your turn. Sam is wandering off, or I would have her do another roll with her and Rentok. Gonna get that 12?
Jane!
Yay! All right, so you wake up in time to hear someone gasp out, I told you they were trying to kill me, but this time it was real. And then someone just making an noise. And you can hear that there is some sort of commotion going on upstairs.
Probably should check that out. And I will wake Rintok up, and I will take my newly minted toy, and we will go upstairs.
Okay. So you head upstairs, and as you do, what's your past perception? Like an 11?
12.
Yeah. That's still enough that you see that peeking out of one of the rooms is, remind me where she is, number 5. Oh no, it doesn't matter. Upper floor. Huh. No, it doesn't matter. That's weird. Nothing. Doesn't. How does that work? Huh. Well, they're fine. Peeking out of one of the rooms, not the room that it was supposed to be in the map, but let's say furthest bottom left hand, number 3, is that older woman with the nice silvering hair, known as Lunelli, who owns the inn, and she's very obviously watching this commotion go on, and doing nothing to help. And so,
has she seen me yet?
The stairs are directly across from her, but she appears to be like peeking out of the room. And you're not stealthing, so I imagine that as you come on up, being like she would swivel around because she's halfway sticking out of the room at this point, and look at you, and then just like lock eyes with you. And then when she does that, she like flicks her glance over to the room, and everyone in that room, the door slams shut, just locking you in the room. And that would be Gidget's turn, but you are now up on that landing, and you could easily make it into the room the next time around. Okay, so that actually give me a initiative check, Sam, because you did not get added to the initiative. It may not matter, but
13.
all right. Okay, so up first is Arado. The door slams shut, but you do still have this going on, and you know there's one rat that won't go down, and there's 2 swarms of insects that are still intimidated by your little illusionary lich.
Can I see if the imp is still around? Or is...
It went invisible. You can give me a perception check, though, because its wings do make noise. It's just quite subtle, so you'd probably have to roll like a 17 to hear it.
Is that an action?
No. You can do like one ability check like that. I don't know if
I
it's
did
an
not
official.
hear anything.
No?
It's fine.
No, you're like, where is that imp? And you guess it's gone. You guess it's gone.
I'm going to have the lich intimidate again, though.
Okay. Then yeah, roll that advantage again.
7.
Okay. Yeah, this time it's maybe your illusionary lich is just kind of getting tired of intimidating people, or maybe they've just gotten cocky because they're just kind of like, and it does nothing, and you can see those little insects like shake themselves out of it, like how dare you, and so they don't look like they're intimidated anymore.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to go through one of the groups. How far away from them am I? It's a 5x5 room, or?
You're kind of inside like a 5x5 area, but the actual room is a bit bigger than that. You're just in an awkward area, and there's like a wardrobe and like a little table underneath the window over there, so it's just kind of awkward, but yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go for one of the swarms, and I'm going to sneak attack them.
Okay, cool.
So I'm going to jump up on the table and try to reach at them.
Yep, that'll be good.
And, where's my dice? I definitely hit. I hit a 22.
Cool, yes, that 100% hits some insects who are not super hard to hit.
I'm going for it. And then they just made me angry at this point. Oh, they're buzzing. I know, right?
Yep.
Freaking insects. They dig in our branches and our trees and our twigs, and it makes me angry.
What are they even doing?
Ah! My nemesis. So I hit for 11.
Okay, so 11 total. All right. So yeah, in just one angry swipe, you kill 11 of them, and they're kind of like when insects hit a windshield, and they just make that like crack popple noise, like really quick. You just swipe through 11 of them. It is now that one rat's turn, and I feel like this rat is like, I'm going after Nim. Is just truly against Nim for some reason. And it's just trying. You can see the bloodlust in its little eyes, and it's just it's gonna get Nim. But that's a 12 to hit, so no, this little rat, it's not going down, but it just can't do it. And then it's the insect's turn, and one of them, the swarm that Rado attacked, is going to go after him, try to sting and bite at him. That is a dirty 20, so that's going to hit. But the swarm is not as strong as it once was, so it does 5 points of piercing damage as they bite and sting into you. These guys had resistances to the things you're hitting them with. This is why you should look over your monsters first, but I'll remember that from now on. Okay. And, alright, and then the other one is going to go for the lich, and then they go through it and try to wrap around this illusionary lich. Are they smart enough to get it? Yeah. And after that, they all kind of like buzz at each other as though communicating like, this isn't real! And then begin to like go towards the living creatures. And that is their turn. It's Gidget's turn next.
Is Lynne still got her head poked out?
Yes, and she's just like looking straight at you, and she's like, oh, good evening.
What was that?
I'm sorry, what's going on? I heard a ruckus and a door slamming.
Can I do like an insight check to see if I know that she closed the door?
Sure, yeah.
24.
24. I highly doubt she can deceive you anywhere up to that. No, she won't even be able to. Yeah. So yeah, you clearly get that she is lying about that.
I feel like I'm going to go help them, and then we're going to talk, because you are not telling me the truth.
I don't understand what you're talking about. I just heard this thing.
This is your inn, right?
Yes, of course, I own this.
Can I try to persuade her to tell me what's going on?
Sure.
See if I can persuade her by saying that we want to try to help everybody involved, and we're not here to harm the village. Can you tell me what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like going that way and do a persuasion check with my -1 in charisma.
What did you do with that token that you got from Old Hazel?
As I'm talking, I'm going to take it out and lay it on the outside of my clothing, because I've still got it on.
Okay, cool.
I never changed.
Yeah, you can add a +5 bonus then.
Ooh.
16?
16. She's like, it's very nice that you don't want anything to happen to the village. That would be a shame. And then you can hear the door make a click and a as though it opens slightly.
You're like, gonna guess I'm gonna tip my head, or it's like, if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to talk to you in the morning, and then I'm gonna go into the door if I can make it into it.
Yeah, you can make it into it, but you spend a lot of time talking, so that's kind of your action.
That's fine.
Yeah, but you can definitely make it into the room. You can watch Arado batting wildly at insects with a rapier. Nim has this really cool looking shadow blade, and there's one angry rat covered in blood and the body parts of its many fallen brethren, attacking him like a small knight against a dragon. And there is a man partially clutching onto Nim that is Brogel, also covered in a ton of blood. And that's what you come into. All right.
How did I not hear this before?
I don't know, but I'm not splitting that 1,000 gold pieces with you.
It's Nim's turn.
You need some mending? I can help with that.
Who needs mending?
I can help clean your clothes. I'm good at that type of stuff.
I don't know if I can do that or not. Okay. So I am going to attack with my Shadow Blade again.
Nice.
And wait a minute. So the duration is concentration up to 1 minute.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't been in a minute in battle.
Okay, I didn't think so, but I just wanted to make sure.
And I don't think you've taken damage yet.
Say that again.
I don't think you've taken damage since that first time the imp stung you. So.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to attack the lone rat.
Okay.
With my Shadow Blade.
Your nemesis.
Yeah, there's death.
Bring death down upon it.
That's a 16.
Yeah, that hits. You bite down into this rat, and how will you kill this rat?
Oh, so I don't even have to roll for damage. Well, I got a 7 for damage, but
it had a 1. It's a 1.
Yeah, I figured. When it opens its mouth to screech, I'm gonna shove the blade right through it.
Its tiny little mouth. It's only like this big, but it still goes.
Okay.
And you go. And you kind of just actually like pop off the top of its little head. It just goes back, and then your Shadow Blade consumes the rest of it, and you're the greatest nemesis you have faced in many an age dies. And there goes that rat. All right. So we're back up with Arado.
Okay, so we have more bugs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do another perception check to see if I hear the imp.
Cool. Oh, you hear the imp? I will tell you right now that you don't hear anything, and like peeking behind the screen, that imp left.
So I'm listening for something that's not
Yeah.
there.
So you don't have to do that. You strongly feel as though this creature isn't even in the room anymore,
Okay.
and has instead decided to just peace out.
And my lich is gone because they hit it and know it's an illusion, so that's gone.
It's still there, but now it's translucent and shimmery, and the insects don't seem to think it's real.
Okay. And so I'm going to go ahead and hop off the dresser and lunge towards the rest of the insects that were attacking me and trying to burrow into me.
Yes, they want your sweet sap.
No sap for you. I hit a 20, dirty 20.
Yeah, that'll definitely hit them.
And then I'll sneak attack and 11 plus 8, 19.
19. All right. They actually have resistance to piercing and slashing damage, so it's 8. It's almost it's not as effective as you thought it was just a second ago, but you still do manage to slay another 8 insects, and there are only 3 left from that original swarm attempting to bite at you. But that's your turn. All right, and it's now the insect's turn. The ones that you attacked are going to go after you, because you've killed their brethren. But that's a 9, so they miss. And then
Dodge and weave.
Dodge and weave. You do so deftly. And then so odds it's you, evens them. And then the second swarm decides to go after you as well, trying to get your sweet sap. And that's that's an 18 to hit. And you take 10 points of piercing damage as they begin to burrow into you. They can't quite get all the way in, but they do manage to like chip away into your little wooden body. All right, and then
scream out, help me!
The insects are your greatest foe. What would Gidget like to do now? It's her turn.
Okay, so I currently see Whirlpool is okay, right?
Yes, totally fine.
Totally fine. Alright. Lynne, you haven't really taken a lot of damage, right?
Nope.
Sweet. Then I am going to how far away is Arato from me?
Not super far, probably like 10 feet away.
Okay. Sweet. How does this work again? Give me a second. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
No, okay. So I'm going to unsheath my umbrella.
Yes. Your magical umbrella.
I seem to be very magical umbrella. And I'm going to kind of weave over to Arato and poke him with the umbrella and cast Cure Wounds.
Oh! Are you supposed to poke me there?
I mean, it's what's available. I'm going to poke the largest part. So, you get... Oh, sweet. You get 12 hit points back.
Woo! So I was feeling very limp and suddenly spring back up.
And then I am going to use my Boots of Winding and teleport back to where I was.
Oh, okay.
Near the...
Cool.
Yep.
You just and you go back. All right. So that's Gidget's turn, and then it's Nim.
What's left again?
There is a full swarm of insects that is attacking Arato, and another few insects also attacking Arato.
When you said that they're on him, boring into him, or are they just like around him?
They're attacking him, like actively.
Right, okay. Let's do... Let's cast Witch Bolt.
Okay, cool. All right, I think you roll to hit. So roll to hit some insects.
Yeah. That is a 15.
Yes, that definitely hits. So this crackling energy comes out of your hands.
So
I think your Shadow Blade dies, because it's another concentration spell, isn't it?
Yep.
Yep.
So
you trade light for shadow.
Witch Bolt's concentration too, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
It is, yep. Okay, and I'm doing this at second level, so it will be 2d12,
Okay, yeah. That could do a lot of damage.
15.
15, alright. Okay, yeah. So the witch bolt lances in, and it's kind of hard to get a purchase, but you hit one and then it just splinters out into a bunch of other little pieces, and so you manage to kill 15 of those insects at once, and then it's just kind of like piercing one that's really dead and keeping it sort of in place so that you can attack the others too. So yeah. So there is, there's Nim, and then there is Arado. What would Arado like to do?
I'm gonna be like, it's bright from your witch bolt. Thinking it's fire.
I didn't use fire.
You didn't use fire. So how many do we have left?
There's not too many. There's still close to a dozen insects though.
Okay, and are they like in one swarm now, or are they separate? Like
they're separate.
Different.
Yeah, there's still two separate ones, so they're buzzing around and dodging. Some of them have this witch bolt attached to them, and it looks like Nim is killing those.
Okay, so I'm going to ignore the ones with the witch bolt, and go for the largest group of them that are not currently being attacked.
Okay.
And I'm gonna my twigs are twiggling really agitatedly, and like I'm gonna lunge for them and attack. Oh, and I totally miss. I am so mad. I just miss.
Okay.
I rolled a 1. So you tell me what happens.
All right. I'm gonna say that you have a 25% chance of falling into Nim's witch bolt. Do you want it to be high? Do you want it to be high or low? Like above a 75, you fall in the witch bolt, or below a 25, you fall into the witch bolt.
Since I'm lunging, I'll say below 25.
Okay, so if I roll less than a 25, you fall into that witch bolt. Well,
Ow.
that's a 15. So you fall into that witch bolt, and you feel this arcane energy just lands and crackle through you, and you can hear your internal sap and bits sizzle.
I'm sizzling.
Sizzling. Okay, so that's Arado's turn, and it's the insect's turn, and they're going to see a good meal ahead of them and attempt to keep eating Arado, since this is working out well.
I do not consent.
I don't think they cared. And yeah, that's a 19 to hit. So you take 5 points of piercing damage as 3 of them begin trying to pick away at your bits. But then the next one, that is a 9 to hit. So the next ones are still crackling with the witch bolt as well, because both Arado and the insects are now attached to the witch bolt. And so they're having a hard time attacking him. That takes us over to Gidget.
What size is Arado at the moment?
Small?
Small, yeah.
Okay.
Does changing size take an action in combat, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so let me make sure of something real quick. I'm pretty sure I can have Ren talk. All right. I am going to, my action is going to be to send out my little dragon.
You have a dragon now?
Yeah, that was what I was working on downstairs.
Oh, well, good. I'm glad you worked on it.
It's
Now, this is
surprises for everyone.
Right? This is a nice surprise. I was excited for it.
Nice.
I also have another surprise, but it's a little creepier, so we'll bring that out we'll bring that one out later. And so what it's going to do is I haven't been able to figure out the flying mechanism of this one yet, so it's going to act like a little lizard, but it's scaled to like a white dragon. And I wanted to
It's
go out.
scaled to a white dragon?
No, I mean it looks like a white dragon.
Okay.
Sorry.
I was like, you can't fit a white dragon in this room.
It's a white dragon scaled down
Okay.
to, lizard size, large lizard size. And I wanted to work its way over to Arado where the insects are, and I wanted to it's going to do Ray of Sickness for me.
Okay.
So I need them to give me a Constitution check.
Okay.
All of us, or just the
No,
bugs?
just the insects.
Okay. Yeah, that's a 7.
So they're going to take however many I can actually hit in this. They're going to take 2d8 damage.
Might kill these guys.
Huh?
You might kill them.
6 points of damage.
6 points. The ray of sickness spreads out into all of them, and you manage to like explode 6 of them, but there's still one tenacious insect who just wants to murder Rod.
Okay. Then on my bonus action, Rintak
Oh.
is going to fly from above and dive bomb it with acidic spittle.
Just some death from above.
Yep.
Just this adorable bird suddenly vomiting acid.
16 hit.
What's a hit?
Does a 16 hit?
Yeah.
Awesome. So I want it actually, Rintak actually has a decent range. This is a 30-foot range, but
Okay.
I wanted to dive really close, like it's going to eat it out of the air because it's an insect, right?
Yeah.
And that's going to do 3 points of damage, but 3 points of damage.
Alright, yeah. It dives down, and then when it looks like it's about to snap it in its jaw, it vomits over the poison onto it, and the little insect squeals and dies! And so that insect is gone. But that was also the insect that was attached by the witch bolt. So now the witch bolt doesn't disappear because it's still attached to Arado, and it's Nim's turn. You gotta roll for some damage against Arado.
I can't just cut it off.
You could cut it off after you do some damage.
Come on, get this thing out of me!
I mean, no, I guess you can stop, because I think Witch Bolt says something like if you want to maintain concentration, you can. So you could say, like, the first thing you do is you stop.
I think you can just cut concentration.
Yeah. You can decide not to damage during your turn, I think. Because that's when you roll to see if you do damage, so. You can either choose to maintain it or kill it.
Yeah, I'm going to stop because I have a bad feeling about it. So I'm going to, disengage Witch Bolt.
Okay.
Ah.
Alright, and I think that's just like a kind of like a free action, though, to stop your spell. I know you spells a lot. So yeah, you still have an action if you want, and there's still 3 insects.
So are each insect, like, are they considered a small little swarm?
Yes, they're like a little baby swarm.
Oh, so I'm gonna take the hard hook and take a physical swing at them.
Okay, cool. Roll to hit.
Yep. That is gonna be an 8.
That does not hit. They are buzzy and annoying, and it just breaks your concentration, so you can't quite hit them. Yeah. Okay. And that brings us back to Erato. You've recently been in the witch vaults, but are no longer in the witch vaults.
I brushed myself off where it was. I guess fire's not the only dangerous thing.
It felt all tingly and weird, and it started to hurt.
So I'm gonna slash out at the rest of the insects, and 19.
Yes, that hits.
Roll a 19, and we'll sneak attack, and 5, 6, 7, 8. 12 points of damage.
All right. Even with their resistance, how do you kill these last 3 insects?
I'm going to do a quick jab in each one. Pa pa pa!
And you guys hear once ago those crackle pops as Erato kills these 3 insects, and you find yourselves in no more danger for the time being. And Brogel's just like, I told you they were after me.
Stop touching the Brogel.
Can I cast... What was it? Do I have that? Hold on. Give me a second. I don't remember what I have. I had to change things last time.
I'm going to turn to Nim while this is happening. I'm going to be like, so how crazy is this guy? Like, is he fruit on the ground crazy, or is he nuts in the tree crazy?
Oh, he's definitely fruit on the ground, like body smelly crazy.
You can have inspiration for that phrase. Like, I feel like I don't know what it means, but you can have inspiration.
And I'm assuming fruit on the ground is much worse than nut in the tree.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
That's so cute. All right.
I'm going to side-eye this fruit on the ground, man.
Who is, like, literally on the ground. He's just like, I don't understand what that means, but you see that I wasn't lying, that they're after me. I almost died. I saw some gaunt-faced creature, and he told me he was going to eat my soul. I didn't know that's what the good place looked like. It was weird and unexpected.
I don't think you have to worry about it eating your soul. I think that's been gone for a while.
What do you mean? You a tree person?
Yeah, I don't have one either. It's fine. We're good.
I'm clearly not. I assume that you were made in some poor bumpkins, just like a shop or something. Feel like only one of you has a soul. What? What's that, Sam?
Like, Gidget gets really offended. It's like, Erato's a fucking Fae, Jack.
They aren't people, we're people. And he, like, vaguely gestures towards Nim, but not, like, really strongly, not like, we're people, because Nim is also looking like a demon person, but it's kind of like, this is all I've got. One of you's a witch, one of you's a tree person. This is the best I've got.
Stop.
I'm going to pointedly...
Stop touching my...
I'm going to pointedly open my umbrella, go over, stand next to Erato, and cast Cure Wounds as I twirl the umbrella over him so he can get some more healing.
Just unnatural.
Look smugly at the fruit on the ground, man.
Just unnatural.
Take another 12 hit points if you need them, hon.
I do.
Okay.
Is twirling this umbrella, looking at him as like glitter comes down out of the umbrella on top of him.
Aww. I like that spell.
I was really excited about this umbrella, guys. Gonna have a lot of fun.
I see that. It's an adorable thing. As this is going on, and Brogel is just being a jackass, you guys can give me a perception check.
Perception. 15.
15.
10.
10. It's
Can
still
you hear me now?
Yes.
There you are.
I was tree speaking and no one heard me.
I don't speak tree.
Dirty 20.
I do, though.
That's all of you were good enough to notice that you feel like somebody's watching you, and if you look towards the door, you can kind of see that Lunella is like kind of just lurking behind it and seeing how things went.
Can I send Rintak over to Lunella?
Mm-hmm.
Head over to the door.
But as you all notice and kind of glance towards her, she immediately seems to notice you noticing and kind of like starts up and moves out of the way, assumably back to her room. But yeah, Rentalk can follow after.
And if she goes into his room, can Rentalk sneak in behind her?
Sure, Rentalk can do a stealth check if you really want it.
23.
All right. So yeah, you can head on into Lunelli's room. So, and I guess since you can kind of see through Rentalk, you see that it's a really nice little cozy room, with good quality furnishings, and it looks comfortable. And it also looks like the lamps are on, and the bed doesn't look like it's yet been slept in. So, and she goes back to what was 23? No, she'll never notice that. And as she goes in, she closes the door behind her, and then she goes to a writing desk and she digs into it and kind of puts her hand underneath it for a little bit, and then pulls out a little stone which she holds in her hand, and whispers into, and a little flash of arcane energy goes out of it. Is Rentalk able to hear things or just see things for you?
He's able to hear and see, and he understands. It understands any languages that I know.
Okay, and so and what Rentalk hears is that she whispers into this little stone, and she says, "Mother, they killed your minions, but I think one of them received Hazel's blessing. What should I do?" And then she kind of puts it up against her ear. And Rentalk has like a 23 and decent hearing. And yeah, I'm still not rolling well enough that you wouldn't hear this. And so then you can hear back through Rentalk the voice of a woman. It's kind of deep and throaty, but not unpleasant to listen to. It says, if one of them has Hazel's blessing, then my people are not to hurt her. What of the others? And Lunelli returns with, I know one of them received your blessing as well, but I don't think the third did. They don't seem to be likely to follow your ways. And that one says, then we will deal with that one as we need to, but let any people know not to damage the other two, And if you see any of my imps or hear from them, remind them of that as well. I wouldn't want someone under my protection to be hurt. And she says, okay. And I will... we will still meet tomorrow? Or is it unsafe with them in town? And you hear back, it will be fine. They will not be able to interfere. And we must finish our work with that man tomorrow night. Very well, Mother. We will see you then. And she puts the stone down and rifles under her desk, assumedly hiding it. And then goes and puts out the tapers, except for one, which she takes to her table, and she takes out a little a journal that was also hidden in another part of the desk and begins to write in it. And that's what she's doing.
Okay. She closed her door, though, right?
She did.
Yep. Is there an open window?
No.
Okay. So I'm just going to have Rentok perch in a corner until she leaves the room.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of the middle of the night, so it's unlikely. And if Rentok keeps watching, it'll just see her write for a few minutes, like 10 or so minutes, and then close the diary and put it away, and then put out the last candle and go to sleep.
That's fine.
And it's like 2 a.m. at this point. It's dark. And you really didn't hear anyone else, but you also know that you guys are the only guest at this part of the inn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, Rentok can't open doors or anything like that, so I'm just going to have him perch.
Yeah.
And then escape when she wakes up.
Okay, yeah. That won't be until the morning, but she gets up fairly early because she has a lot of work to do. So if you basically tell Rentok to wait until then, sometime around dawn, it'll be able to come out. But until then, is there anything you wanted to do? Brogel doesn't have any particular information to offer other than just reminding you that he was right. He told you that this was what was happening, and everyone is out to get him. But he doesn't have helpful information to offer other than that at this point.
If everybody is okay with it, can I cast Identify ritually on the bed and see if I can get any information from it?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, so just ignoring Virgil at this point, because screw him. I'm going to climb into the middle of his bed. And with the umbrella, flipping over, because one of the things I was working on was creating a magical circle on the inside of the umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
I flip it upside down and decide to cast Identify ritually with the umbrella.
Okay. Oh, yeah, we'll take that. Okay, so you wanted to cast Identify essentially on the bed to see if there was anything. You're not getting that there's anything on the bed itself, but you're not doing Detect Magic, you're doing Identify, right?
I was doing Identify, yeah.
Yeah. So that's difficult because there wasn't anything directly cast on the bed. But you do get that somebody cast something that affected the bed. And so I'd say what you can get with an Identify spell is that at some point an individual that was in that bed was affected by a spell known as Nightmare Haunting. Which can be used on someone that's sleeping, and it essentially means that another creature magically reaches out through a different dimension and touches them, and gives them dreadful visions, which prevents them from getting rest, reduces their maximum hit points, and can eventually kill them in time. And you do notice that Brogel looks even worse than he did when he went to bed. He looks weaker. His eyes are sunken, and his skin is just kind of hanging off his frame. So he was looking really rough when you guys saw him. Like, he hadn't gotten a lot of sleep. Like, he was pretty, like, weak and was maybe had some sort of sickness. And now he looks even worse. And he does just seem, like, exhausted.
I'm going to turn to Nim, and I'm going to tell him it looks like he's rotting.
Brogo's like, that's you're rotting. I'm a person, not a fucking tree.
Did you relay what Rintok said to us?
I haven't yet because I don't want to do it in front of Brogel.
Gotcha. That's probably a good call.
Yeah.
Well, I have some ropes. Should we just tie him to the bed?
I'm not. I need to be able to run away.
Would you be willing to sleep in one of our rooms? Because I think you're not going to get any rest here.
I just need to. It's fine. Fucking fine. It won't do any good. Fine.
Rude.
Are we all going to take a good long rest?
We probably should. I need it for spells, if anything.
Yeah, same.
Alright.
I'm good. It's a party. Let's.
Arata's got his hit points back, and he doesn't have spells or key points or anything, so he's just like, I'm good to go.
I may have some. Is there a bar or fruit juice stand here?
You're in a tavern, and there is a bar, but Lunelli is the one that runs it, and she's asleep. And she would have told Gidget when she went to bed that, it's essentially closed while she sleeps, and it won't be open up again until the morning. So, I mean, you could try to steal some stuff if you want, like, just have a one-person party.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Okay. All right. Yeah, there's no one around. There's not like anyone watching you or anything. There's no one that stays in this inn other than like Lunelli and her staff members. Give me if you want to be stealthy and not caught, you can give me a stealth check.
I'll do a stealth check.
Okay.
Let's do a stealth check. I got a 21.
Yeah, you're super stealthy. So Nim and Gidget go off to sleep, and instead you like tiptoe downstairs feeling good. And you can go behind the bar, and there's several different kinds of alcohols and ales and sparkling drinks and carbonated beverages and stuff. And the door to the kitchen is locked, but if you want to try to pick that lock or something, you can. You can give me a sleight of hand check.
Yeah, let's do that.
It's like a DC 15.
Oh, I hit a 14.
No, it's like a pretty good padlock, and you just haven't practiced breaking into it yet. But you can still like have a party with like some bar nuts and pretzels and a bunch of like drinks and stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna look for. Let's do a perception check to see what the most expensive drink is.
Okay, sure.
Natural 20.
Natural 20. All right. So it's none of the stuff is like the fanciest stuff that you're gonna find anywhere. Like not even like Stagmore. But you can find like some good bottles of wine, like some fairly high quality bottles, and they look like they're hidden behind some things, and a little bit dusty, and maybe waiting for like a special day or a higher level clientele. But you find that wine, you can pop it on open, and you can just have yourself an errata party.
So I'm going to drink a bottle by myself and then crash, but I'm going to take the rest.
Okay. Like, where are you crashing, just so I know?
I'm going to go back to my room.
Okay.
And sneak back.
All right, yeah, you successfully managed to have this little time, and it's fun. And you guys can complete your rest and get the benefit of it. And eventually, Gidget briefly wakes up because Rentok has come back to her. And then the following morning, you guys wake up. It's several hours after dawn, and you can hear that there is like the sound of people and moving around downstairs, and things like that. You can also hear like some doors opening and closing in the hallway and people's voices moving out, and so it seems like the inn is up and ready to go. Yeah.
So remind me where. Oh, sorry.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Where is Rogel sleeping?
With us. I gave it in a bed mat, not on the bed.
You guys were in the 2 threes that were at the top left and right threes. The one on the left, I believe, belonged to Nim, and the one on the right belonged to Gidget and Arado. So they had the larger room.
Cool. So are Gidget and I in the same room currently?
Mm-hmm.
And no one else is in there, correct?
Rogel's probably in with us, I would imagine.
Is he still passed out?
Yeah, he seems like he's sleeping heavily, but it's fitfully.
Okay, how many bottles of wine did I get?
You rolled, so let's roll a d6. This one's pretty. You got 6 bottles of wine.
Yes! And I drank one. So
just start the morning off right.
So I'm going to whisper over to Gidget, and I'm going to hand her 2 bottles of wine for healing me.
Oh, well, awesome. Thank you very much. And I'm going to stick them in my bag of holding.
Yes. And I had the rest.
You're still kind of you're honestly kind of tired, Arado. I'd probably give you like 1 point of exhaustion because you stayed up late drinking.
Yeah.
So you have
That's fair.
So you have a point of exhaustion, but you still gain the benefit of your long rest. I think that means that you just roll at disadvantage for like your ability checks.
Okay.
Yes.
And you see, as you're giving Gidget this wine, you see her taking small vials and sticking them in the back of the tiny dragon, so that they are prepared. And she has attached the wings,
Okay.
so it can now officially fly.
Excellent.
Yes.
Nim, hearing them stir, is going to cast message on Gidget and request that she and Arato come to his room immediately.
Cool.
Ooh.
I
Twigs. Let's go.
take all of my gadgets with me. I'm not leaving any of it with that man.
Cool. Yeah, he's even if you're not especially like quiet, he won't stir or hear you. He seems just like exhausted and a little bit feverish, so he's not doing great.
And we'll come over to see Nim.
Yes.
And then at that point in time, I will tell you guys what Ren Talk overheard last night. And let you know that there is, so Nim, watch your back.
Yep, sounds like it.
Yep, I'm not sure what these people are going to do. Apparently the imps came from Mother, whoever that is. And we need to keep an eye on either Lunelli, or just make sure somebody's on dude over there, because they're going to try to finish it tonight.
So since they're gunning for me and Broggle, what do we like? Do we want to risk waiting until the night, or do we want to accomplish the mission that we've been set to do?
I mean, we could just go ahead.
I was just going to say that I'm a little exhausted from my night party by myself and ask for a reminder what the mission was.
Basically, to get Broggle and take him back to his liege lord. I forget the liege lord's name. Gidget, do you remember?
Odami. Lord Odami.
Odami, that's right, because I kept thinking of umami.
He'd be delicious.
He sent Broggle here to this village to investigate and potentially root out any witchy activity.
Right.
And we were sent to see what happened to him and to bring him back alive if possible.
But he did say that he would be fine with just news and we would still get paid.
True. But would leaving Broggle to his probable death benefit us?
I mean, I don't think it would hurt us, but probably not. I am really curious and kind of want to see if I can talk with Hazel again and see if I can get any other information from her.
Mm-hmm.
So so this is Evan. So Cindy, would Hazel be potentially where she was before? Would we think that? Or?
We do know that she was across the bridge both the time that Dude came across as well as us.
Yeah.
You're right.
And you didn't see her come in last night when you guys came in to eat dinner, and a lot of people from the town seemed to be there.
Okay.
So that's the information you have.
Oh, sorry. Do we have mounts with us? I couldn't remember if we brought...
I think you said you walked for this one, that you didn't want to bring mounts.
Okay. That's what I thought, but I couldn't remember. So what if, because you and Arado have the Mother's Blessing, what if Broggle and I, stay back a little bit and let you and Arado approach her? So that way she's a little bit nicer?
That would probably be really smart. I wouldn't bring Broggle near her at all.
That's what I mean.
She has those ravens, so she's going to be able to see.
Yeah. Maybe we could hide behind a tree.
So, question.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
The blessing is the object itself, correct?
No. You guys were told, the two of you were told that you had the blessings of Mother because you elected to give her a small amount of coins. And then only Gidget was given this little wooden symbol because she gave gold instead of silver.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So technically we both have Mother's Blessing, but apparently I have Hazel's Blessing is how Lunelli mentioned it last night.
And I have nothing.
Because you were sassy.
I was going to say.
Hazel started it.
Sure she did.
And my MO behind pushing us to potentially finish this mission for Odami is, Nim's obsession with things shiny and gold. And this way we could potentially confirm witchy activity and return Broggle alive. But I agree with you, if you guys could eke more information out of Hazel, that's probably smart. We already know that witchiness is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think if we can go out and see if we can talk with Hazel. I would either say you guys need to stay in town or very far away because I don't know the range of those ravens.
You also know, because Broggle told you, that he was explicitly sent here to kill a witch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, that's
not going to happen.
Right, maybe I'm going to overrule that.
Yeah. So do you want to go with me out, Arado?
Yeah, I think it's best to leave them here so they don't get hurt. My only concern is that two people without the blessing are alone together.
I can go by myself. I think I'll be okay.
Split the party, Sam.
Sometimes it works.
Sometimes it does.
How many feet is it from Hazel to from where Hazel's sitting to across the bridge.
If you want to go to the other side of the bridge, because she's like 30 feet away from one side of the bridge, but if you want to cross that river, then that would probably take you like 60 feet away from where she
Okay,
would
that's
be
what I
sitting.
thought, but I just wanted to...
Yeah.
Okay, maybe just because I have a worldly view, being a tree traveling the world, that I should go with you in case there's some kind of fibbing or untruths.
If Nim wants to come, it might not be a bad idea, but I don't know if we want to leave Brogel by himself.
I will
Or bring Brogel with us.
tell you that at this point, Brogel is unable to move. He is too physically weak to move himself. So if you try to move him, he's kind of feverish and weak, and he just like mutters things at you, like, fuck you, you don't know me. And then if you try to like nudge him, he just like flops. Like he seems just like exhausted at this point.
Is there anywhere I can buy a horse?
I mean, you saw that in this little inn, they did have horse stalls, but when you came by, you just kind of noticed that there didn't seem to be any horses in it. You didn't check, and your guys' passive perception isn't great, so there may be horses in it, but you didn't notice any. Just reminding all of you that none of you are good with wisdom.
No. So true.
Sam, did you have a question? Are you raising your hand, or are you just thinking?
Yeah. Nope, raising hand.
Yes, okay.
So, if I were to give Brogel some temporary hit points, would that help?
Give me an Arcana check.
$16.
You don't think so. Because it seems like his exhaustion is magically created. It's the exhaustion that's preventing him from moving.
Okay.
So you'd have to get rid of the magical exhaustion.
Okay. Well, then I think we should go talk with Hazel first before we do anything else.
Okay, I'm on board. Maybe, how big of an object can fit in your bag of holding?
You can shove a person in a bag of holding.
Without like giving up air for like a minute, right?
Like 10.
10 minutes.
How far is it?
As another character, I've done this before.
You think it might take you like 15 minutes to get out to Hazel, but you can like pull him out.
I could like call his head out occasionally, let him breathe, go back in, stay in.
Let's do it because
Yeah,
the reality, if we leave him here, he's going to die.
Right.
He's better. Can I do an Arcana check on Nightmare Haunting?
Sure.
I want to know if I can figure out if it is connected to him or if it's connected to the place of sleep.
Okay, sure.
13, 17.
17. Someone's yelling at a small child outside. So you don't think it's connected to the place of sleep. You think it was on him.
So I don't know the range of this, but that spell isn't going to just go away if we take him out of here. There's a chance he may still die, even if we have transported his body away.
Oh.
I'm not. But if we get him home,
What if you put him in the bag of holding just long enough to get him out of the inn, and then she doesn't know where he's at.
Maybe. I'm going to try it. I don't care. I'm not too fond of him anyway, so sure.
What's your alignment? What's Gidget's alignment, Sam?
Neutral.
Yeah, and I'm chaotic neutral, so it's like, yeah. I mean, I want that money, and I guess if we bring him home alive, whatever happens after we give him back to Umami or Odami, then
That's on him.
I don't want other travelers to have the same experience, though. Traveling the world should be fun.
I don't think it's the fact that he's a traveler. I think it's the fact that they probably know that he's there to kill something or to mess with their village.
So why are we saving him other than money?
That's it. I mean, what else is there?
I'm wondering if I'm kind of with Arado on this one. I'm wondering if this is happening to other travelers. Yes, he is kind of the worst off because of the fact that he was trying to kill the witch, but is this happening to, like, say if they weren't already doing this to him, would they be doing this to you, Nim? Because you didn't follow Hazel's guidance or whatever.
They're going to take your shinies.
I mean, I'll go with the majority here, but...
I say we take him, go talk to Hazel. If we don't like the answer, we can just skedaddle.
Yeah, let's do that.
That work?
Okay.
But let's put him in the bag so she doesn't know we have him.
I'm just saying, remember, I don't have any blessing, so...
You'll stay back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I will Misty Step the F away.
That's also fair.
Can I cast Misty Step twice if I'm not in initiative?
I mean, if you're not in initiative, it's a bonus action. So, assumedly, you can just. It takes you like a second to do or something.
Yeah, I think it's like instant.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be like I could like dash 30 feet and then Misty Step another 30.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And be like, peace, I'm on the other side, later bitches, I'm gone. Yeah, let's do it. Let's put him in, because the reality is if we leave him, he's going to die. If we split the party up, I could die with him.
Right.
If we take him, he could die. I mean, the likelihood of him dying is dying, right? So death. Like, it's gonna, whatever. So maybe we'll try to keep him alive as like long as possible.
Okay.
So to make room in my bag of holding for this man, I'm going to take out kind of a half-finished puppet to like walk beside me. I'm going to wind it up and it's going to walk beside me, but it's not completely finished. So it was that puppet that I was adding on some exoskeleton type of stuff. So it's a little freaky looking, but I have to make room for him. So just FYI.
I'm going to poke it. I'm going to poke that puppet.
Do you need someone to just like carry it?
Oh no, I got the legs done. It's the upper body. So what you see is this puppet is kind of flopped over at the waist.
And it's just like walking with you?
Just walking. Yep.
Oh, that's that. Yeah, I'll stay behind you. That's real creepy.
And since Gidget has the blessing with the Ankh thing, I'm going to put myself behind Nim. So we're kind of
good call. Thanks for that.
At this point.
I like it. So I'm going to fold this man into it and we'll leave.
All right, so you flop this kind of sweaty, feverish man, and he protests a little bit, like, "Hey, the fuck, what? Where? The devil!" And you squinch him into this large messenger bag.
Yeah, find a devil. Go in there, squeeze in. Go on.
Yep. and so you push him into there, and you can head out into your room. And as you do, you see that red-headed servant that you saw yesterday, Her name is Milsey. She'd been your server the other night, and she's directing a couple of people to how to finish cleaning up the room and reminding them to just get rid of the blood and clean it up, and when you're done, get back to what you need to do. And then she sees you and she just looks at you and she says, "Good morning," and she goes downstairs. And whenever the servants see you, like, there's a man and a woman cleaning up, and they just, like, close the door of Brogel's old room behind them. And you guys can go downstairs, and you see that it's about, like, 9:30 in the morning, so not a lot of people are eating, but they are still, like, chatting afterwards, and all of you notice that there is a stop, and everyone kind of looks at you all for like a real quick hard second before going back to what you're doing. And can I get a perception check?
Ooh, 19.
I got a 9.
I got a 8.
Okay. So only Gidget hears as you guys go downstairs. You see that Lunelli and Hargrave are talking near the fireplace, and Lunelli is telling Hargrave that she might be a little bit busy tonight. She needs to put an order in for extra wine. All of her wine disappeared last night, and Hargrave is just like, that's a shame. We really can't. I don't think they can start the gathering without you. And she says, I know, and Mother will be disappointed, but she'll understand. I have to take care of these things. And he nods. And they don't really pay you guys, and they both do like glance at you as you guys enter the room, and then kind of turn their backs like towards you, and then Hargrave begins to loudly talk about the weather, and you guys can cross the room. No one's gonna stop you, and as you do, you see a man dressed in craftsman's clothing enter the inn, and he just waves a hand, and he's like, "Lunelli, Dad," at Lunelli and Hargrave, and then he sits, and Milsey is dealing with some customers, and she looks up like ready to smile when this man comes in, and instead like her face twists into like a little grimace, and then goes over to him and smiles like thinly, and orders a drink. And you guys head towards the door, and he kind of swivels with you, like noticing where some eyes are going. And then just like, "Oh, new in town?"
What does this person look like? This Hargrave's
Son?
offspring? Yeah.
He looks a lot like Hargrave, with the thick brown hair, but he's younger. He's a human. He's probably in his mid-30s, and he has sort of like sharp, dark green eyes, that he's like kind of like looking at you, and he'll look all of you up and down and just go, and I guess kind of notice, maybe you're still disheveled, and Nim still hasn't quite cleaned up their clothing, and just be like, "So what do you think of a nom dial?"
I've tried the wine. It's great. You all have great wine.
Really? Lunelli keeps the good stuff. Most of us have to drink piss. And Milsey's just like, "It's not that bad." And she's come back and she's put a carafe in front of him, and then immediately leaves.
Nim's gonna walk up and extend their hand and say, Nimria. And you are?
Oh, that's a really pretty name. My name is Hawk Hargrave, because even though my dad has a 3rd grade education, he enjoys some fine alliteration.
Hawk Hargrave. My. What a interesting name.
Trying not to laugh.
And then he leans in close to Nim and goes, "If you're doing something about that cult, I can help you." And winks.
And Nim says, "Would you like to meet me outside in 10 minutes?"
I can finish this terrible wine in 10 minutes.
Sounds like a plan, big boy.
And he laughs.
That wasn't a whisper.
Okay. And he laughs and starts drinking and says, "See you in 10 minutes."
I look at Gidge and let out a low grass whistle. And shake my head. Just like...
It in return goes, "Get it?" And in a really awkward way, because she's like, "What did I just see?"
Some people know how to work a room.
Yeah, and then Nim's going to go, "Let's go outside."
That wasn't awkward.
And did you go, "I'm the awkward one."
I'm also blood splattered and just over this place.
Yeah, let's go.
And you guys have an almost dead body in a bag.
That sounds like our party.
Well, and I figured by the time we get outside, we could open it up, let some air in, and then still have a few minutes to spare before Hawk.
Ooh, I have a clock. I should set that as a timer.
Perfect.
After we get outside.
All right. Okay, so you guys head downstairs. You can see that this little village is busy. People are cleaning the streets. People are tending to their horses. People are talking to each other. And once again, you get that distinct feeling that most of them give you a quick, hard once-over as you head by.
Right.
It just like waves at people.
And then people look at you like, "You're weird, like, what are you doing?" and don't acknowledge it.
And then goes,
American Russian village.
"Hello, peasantry."
And then they give you, like, another look.
Errato just ignores them and kind of looks at the weather.
Without further ado.
Lovely hamlet you have here.
Walking next to me.
Something that at this point I think all of you would have noticed is there's an awful lot of women in this town. It seems a majority women, like 80%.
Awful lot of women you have here. Lovely town.
Are they women? I'm going to turn to Nim and are they women?
I'm not really sure.
Most
Gender is just a construct, and I can't see the genitalia to be sure.
Oh, I mean, everybody bears fruit and flowers from my village, so.
I love that.
That's beautiful. And Gidget's just like not going to correct any of these assumptions people are making. It's fantastic.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
So
this is the way the world should be. Gidget's
My
like,
kind can have anything that they want or need.
right? This is fantastic.
Right. Beans, blooms, you name it.
Yeah, you want some bananas? You want some flowers? Like, take your pick. It doesn't matter. It just depends on where you're from. I don't get it.
Yeah.
All right.
I like that you guys are just wandering down the road, side-eyeing people, and also talking about, like, what genitalia people can have. This is what you felt like doing at 9:30 in the morning.
You mistake us. We have not been walking down the road. We're waiting on Hawk, remember?
So we're milling about doing this.
Right. We're just standing around.
Some people are like unshoeing a horse so they can like clean its hooves, and you're just like nearby, you're just like beans and blues.
I'm working on my alliteration because Hawk seems to appreciate it.
He does.
Is it a sunny day out?
Yeah, it's a nice sunny day. Everything is nice and sunny in Anamdial.
Hey.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys are just milling about, discussing how different species procreate, and are waiting just like 10 minutes conspicuously for Hawk.
Yeah, you know what? We're doing this.
As 10 minutes approach and you remember that the man in your bag could suffocate, what do you want to do about that?
I'm going to discreetly open the bag, crawl his face into my hand, let him breathe, take him back in, and then pull out a perfume bottle and give it to him. Would you smell this and see what it smells like?
Can I get a stealth check to see how stealthily you pull a man's head out of a bag?
Well, you put your hand like at the top of the bag and just have his face like smack into my hand.
Just his face.
What forehead? Just grab his.
Wait, he breathes. So he's like if this is the bag, he's just like there, like this.
After this session, I want to see what a rock gnome's hand looks like.
By the way, that stealth is a dirty 20.
Alright, it's pretty darn stealthy. Like, maybe your companions know because they're looking straight at you and they hear, like, the wet smack of his face hitting your hand. But the second you look over, she's just shoving something back in the bag, so you don't think anyone else noticed. Got another.
I was just taking out a thing of perfume and asking them to see if they like this smell better than the last one that I made.
Okay.
Does Nim whiff, and what does Nim have to do about whiffing?
It's literally just perfume.
Do you want to give me like a? Do you want to give me like a tool check to see how well like you made that perfume? You would add your proficiency bonus and roll a d20.
Yep, I get to double my proficiency 20. That is going to be an 18.
All right. Yeah. Pretty good smelling. What does it smell like, Sam?
Wood spice.
Wood spice.
Oh, I'm a fan. It complements my natural aroma.
For you if you want it.
I would love it. Thank you very much. I have nowhere to put it yet.
I mean, I can help hold it for you in the bag.
Perfect.
Awesome. I'll just stick it back.
I've yet to, engage you in creating me my own bag of holding, so.
I can do that for you.
Okay, so that happens, and then after a little bit, Hawks comes out. You see that he's just like pushes his hair back behind his ears, and has opened like a button, and just comes back out. And then unless Nim stops him, he will just slip a hand through Nim's elbow and just kind of stroll with him and just be like, "So you're here to kill some cultists, I think."
Who said that?
Well, you just seemed very interested, and he will start walking a little bit further away from the village, like towards the bridge, because that way leads outside of the village, and then it's a short forested walk to the bridge. But he seems like he's kind of leading you a little bit that way, just so you're not talking to anyone. And it's just like, well, I would, if I were an adventurer such as yourself with your resources, I would certainly come to kill this cultist. And I've heard there's good money in it too.
What else have you heard?
Well, I've heard that strange things happen to people that don't show Anamdial's women proper respect. Someone is protecting them. I think it's this mother character everyone talks about.
How long has Mother been here?
I think she's been here since the village was started. Certainly since before I was born.
What do you get out of it if someone kills Mother?
I'll get a home that's not run by some secretive cult that seems to have brainwashed everyone. Even my father's brainwashed by it. He used to not be. Several years ago, he was just as suspicious as I am. And then something happened. I don't know what.
If we leave this village, would you come with me?
It's my home, and it's where my father lives, and I wouldn't want to leave him to these people.
I can understand that. Gidget or Otto, do you have any questions for Handsome Hawk?
Oh.
Like how we're keeping with the alliteration. Do you know where they meet?
I don't know exactly where they meet, but some of my customers have told me they've seen and heard some strange things in the woods, specifically in Shadow Grove.
Can you give us directions?
I can. And he can describe that it's actually, it's not on the opposite side of the village, like you guys are walking this way, and then it's like, 90 degrees along the way, a little bit that way outside of the village. He can tell you it's not too far. I think it's about another 15, 20-minute walk outside.
What does it mean that I have Hazel's blessing?
Hazel doesn't give blessings. She's just a crazy old woman.
Does he recognize the thing on my chest?
Do you point it out to him? He's not paying close attention to anyone. Except one person.
What was that?
Just the really nice smelling tiefling next to him.
Me. They do smell fantastic, so
Yes, they do.
naturally.
But do you point out the token?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, that is Hazel's. Huh. And you can tell that he kind of is now side-eyeing you, clearly with suspicion, and just grows quiet at that.
Can I do a perception check to see if he's lying about Hazel's blessing?
You can do an insight check, yeah.
Or insight?
Yeah.
13.
Okay. You get the idea he's not lying. He doesn't think that Hazel has any blessings to give. They're not from Hazel, and he seems to believe that Hazel is just a crazy old woman. So he seems to be on the up and up.
I know he doesn't, I get the idea he probably doesn't trust me at the moment, but can I ask him and be like, are there any women here who aren't under this weird sway?
I don't think so. I mean, seems to have. You seem to follow that as well.
Follow what?
You're wearing Mother's token.
It was given to me by a lady at a tree. I'm trying to understand what the hell's going on.
Whose mother?
I think she's whoever runs this weird cult.
Does anybody ever see her?
I'm sure someone does. I don't. And when I've tried to follow some of the women, and I just seem to lose them. And sometimes it's weird stuff happens. Like I'll be following someone, and next thing I know, suddenly they're a snake, and there's nothing in that cobblestone street, and there's a snake in front of me, and it's biting at me. Or sometimes we get ravens here, and they seem really mean too. Hazel, they're good to Hazel. You see them around Hazel all the time. But with me, and sometimes with bats and insects and other small creatures, I don't think it's that the women are disappearing. I think that, suddenly there's a rat in your face and it's hard to concentrate.
That's fair.
Can you wait right here, Hawk? My associates and I need to discuss something in private a few feet away.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll be right back.
All right, I'll wait right here.
Don't be suspicious.
Don't be suspicious.
So are we far enough away that he won't overhear?
Yeah, you guys can move 30 or 40 feet away or something like that, yeah.
So I have a sneaking suspicion that, I'm, whispering. I have a sneaking suspicion that Hazel is Mother. And that the cultist women, it sounds like from what he described that they can, change form. Is this jiving with anyone else, or is this just me?
I think that he thinks that the old woman is just an old woman.
Right, which is why I wanted to step away. But I'm almost wondering if everyone's saying that that's Hazel's pendant, and Hazel gave you her blessing or gave you Mother's blessing plus a pendant. It just sounds like she's awfully wrapped up in all of this.
And there's always creatures around her.
Right.
I wonder if she's maybe the equivalent of a high priestess.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Not actually the mother figure, but
Right.
the high priestess of this thing.
When we met her, I think someone did an arcana check,
Yeah.
and Mother isn't a godly being or anything.
Right.
So that's why I keep thinking if she's just human.
I'm wondering if we try to follow to this cult, if I will be able to get through, but I wonder if either of you guys are going to be able to. You have blessing.
I have blessing. Also, I'm not specifically male or female, although I identify as he.
Right.
I don't have that presence.
So it might be able to, but I wonder if Nim tried to follow, if Nim would end up, because of the fact that they don't have the blessing, and you've been antagonistic to Hazel in her eyes.
Right.
The same thing that Hawk is experiencing, you would end up experiencing. I wonder if it's a phantasmal force where it's forcing you to see something that's not actually there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it may be best for the two of us to try and attend to whatever this gathering is. And if nothing else, I can always shrink in size and hide out.
I think we could try. I think we should all try to go. Maybe if you guys, if all of us are going together, we'll be able to actually get there.
Can Hawk come too? Just to help show us the way. I'm not trying to be a skis here, but just to show us the way.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
And if Cindy, if I wanted to do like a, I don't know, perception check or something to see if Hawk is trustworthy. Is that possible?
That'd be an insight, but yeah.
Insight? Yeah, okay. I just didn't know which one it would be.
Yeah.
I would do that as well.
Thank you. So we are looking at where's my insight? +2. 17 + 2 is 19.
I got a natural 20 +6.
During this conversation, I let somebody breathe again and do the same thing.
Okay. All right. So I think both of you feel like that Hawk is trustworthy, at least in this matter. I'd say that Arado, with your exceptionally good insight into him, you get the feeling that he's a little bit of a rake, a little bit of a rogue, but that he is sincerely interested in eradicating this and is like very suspicious of it, and does not think it's a good thing.
Okay, so while we're still separated, I would relay that information to Nim and Gidge and just say, he seems really passionate about getting rid of these women, maybe. These women in power. So we probably maybe should allow him to guide us there, but not necessarily go in.
Okay.
Have him at a distance.
But we don't get the sense that he's like a bad guy, right?
No, not a threat to us.
Right.
Or seems like he's evil or anything like that.
Right. I would be okay with that.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Cool. Let's get twiggy with it.
All right. So if you go back to Hawk, and you relay this to him, you can be like, yeah, we can go there right now, unless you had other business.
That might be good.
I'm actually kind of hungry. Should we stop and get a meal? Just a quick bite?
Well, that would be Lunelli's place.
Is anyone else hungry?
I think I have an errand to run with Gidget.
Yes?
Oh.
Somebody should use message.
Metagaming.
Somebody,
go ahead, Sam.
no, I was like, yeah. Well, I didn't actually eat breakfast. So, like, can I do like an insight check on Nim and see if I can figure out what Nim's trying to say?
Sure.
Of course, this is when I roll well. So that is a 22.
Yeah, you get that. You get that. Nim really does seem quite peckish, and just really isn't doing their best when they start a day off without a good meal, and they're just going to be cranky and hangry really all day, and it's going to affect their judgment and their magic. It's going to be a whole thing. So, like, yeah, they want to go back and they want to have like brunch. Like time for mimosas and like poached eggs.
Ooh, fizzy juice? I'm down for fizzy juice.
Yep, and we get to spend more time with Hawk Hargrave, the handsome.
If that's your type.
Oh, those green eyes and that lovely dark brown hair. Oh.
Tragically, I can't think of many words that begin with N that would suit you, because even though you are, I don't quite think you're nice, if you know what I mean.
Oh my god.
Afternoon delight.
Naughty is a good N word.
I'll have to remember that. And with that, we're going to stop for the night. And as the party goes back in, and they can have like a little brunch and flirt some more and side-eye people as much as they need to. But that's where we'll stop for the night. And we're actually going to try to finish it up next time if we can. It kind of depends on how the party wants to go. It may only take us like a little bit next time to play, so we might do something else afterwards. Or if they really want to explore a bunch of stuff, it might go like the whole 2.5, 3 hour long session. But either way, I hope you'll join us. We're going to be meeting on August 8th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or whatever time of the year it is. And we will finish Lynne Meyer's The Secret of Shadow Grove. So I just want to let my players say goodbye, and so we can start with Evan.
Hi, I've been Nim, lecherous Nim. Evan Copeland on all social media, alphabet_Evan. Thank you, Lynne, for this great adventure and story. I'm having a lot of fun, and see you in a few weeks.
All right, and Sam.
Hi, I've been Gidget. I am enjoying creating ridiculously creepy and useful gadgets. This is great. And also, this is our guest.
It's Dinah! And then Phil.
I've been playing the erratic errato, kind of going with that alliteration there. Right? You can find me on Instagram at Phil Weasley, Twitter at Phil.Weasley. Check out my art. I'm headed to a residency at the end of August, beginning of September. It's going to be a month long. Keep up with my stuff, and I've been loving this campaign. It's super fun, offering lots of options, and I love that.
Yeah. I know that Lynne's been having actually kind of a rough week with some sickness. So if you pop on by their Twitter, I think it's Lynne_M_Meyer, and just wish them well. I'm sure she'd appreciate it and make her feel better. And just let her know, if you watch this, how much you like this particular one shot. I think it's really cool, and I do like that there's so much to explore and that there's all that kind of intrigue and everything. And so I've been your DM. I am Cindy, otherwise known as Babble Drabble or CL Bootor. And so I'm just wishing everyone a good night, and thanks for stopping by and chatting. So have a good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.